Hi everyone, Dr. Richard DiCenso here, or as known to my patients, Dr. D. Now, if you've been following along, you know that the Matrix Assessment Profile, or the MAP, is the foundation for our entire evaluation of the whole person. And in fact, it is one of, if not the only, evaluation that takes into consideration every aspect, every influence that contributes to compromises in your biological environment and subsequently lays the foundation for symptoms to emerge in various systems in the body, which translates to the fact that I'm not entirely convinced that there are in fact any real diseases. I'm more convinced at this point after 40 years that what we see in terms of compromises in the three major influences, the structural, the biochemical, the psychological, the emotional, the spiritual, which I call the virtual realm, are actually symptoms of imbalances and deficiencies in the biological environment. Now, I've gone over a lot of the specific details in previous videos, and we're going to focus on even more specific elements of each of the contributing factors to the biological environment. But the broad concept is this. Before we're brought into this world, and then once we're brought into this world, we are affected by three major influences, that being stress, the environment, and genetics. Now, once you've emerged from the womb, assuming that it's a natural vaginal birth, you're going to be subjected to the same stresses that you were while you were in the womb. And of course, if there's a C-section or another procedure performed where you're actually pulled out of the womb, this contributes to the initial stresses that you're going to experience as part of your developmental phases from age 0 to 6, which are called implicit stresses. Now, of course, in this short video, we don't have time to go into each of the elements in each of the influences, but I do want to stress some important things today that are, in a sense, myths concerning things like hormones. But before I do, I want to frame this entire discussion by reminding you that the MAP is not a test, it's an evaluation. So tests are important because they will isolate various aspects of these imbalances and deficiencies and compromises in the sense of things like hypertension, cardiovascular disease, digestive disorders, immune disorders, and even dysfunctions that lead to premature aging and things like Alzheimer's. But you're going to see all of these things in the biological environment within the context of the MAP simply because the MAP answers one simple question that no other evaluation answers, and that question is why. And as you'll probably recall, we use a series of caveats or guidelines to help us determine and pinpoint where the origin of the initial compromise actually exists so that we can treat the symptoms not as a symptom, but as an effect of a compromise, an imbalance, or a deficiency that emerges as a symptom. Now, one of the common myths is that you have to replace something that's been extracted from the body. For instance, one of the most common is when females have a procedure done, like a hysterectomy, for instance, and the immediate recommendation is that you take hormones. Now, this is very similar to withdrawing blood pressure medication and then having a reaction to it. And you're going to have a reaction to the removal of some vital part of the body. And that's where the hormones come into play. So initially, yes, they do provide a benefit, but long term, you have billions of cells in your body that communicate through three major centers in the body, amongst others, one being the brain, one being the heart, and one being the stomach, where you have neural networks that are actually capable of communicating through the brain to the various parts of the body that are now no longer there, and instructing the cells in that part of the body to recreate whatever those cells were responsible for producing. So in fact, if you no longer have an organ that is capable of producing a certain hormone, your cells in that part of the body are entirely capable, by virtue of instructions from the brain to the billions of cells that ordinarily support that system, to generate, create, and maintain normal hormonal functions. For instance, the adrenal glands are responsible not only for responding to stress, but for creating and contributing to maintaining blood pressure, blood sugar, production of male and female hormones, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, all of which are capable of compensating for the lack of another system in the body that has been removed. So outside of the fact that we definitely have to deal with the structural issue and its contribution to compromises in the biological environment in and of itself through the biochemistry, the psychological and the emotional components of the virtual realm in the form of thoughts that we entertain every day, and the role that they play in contributing to distortions in the biological environment. But at this point, if you simply make the decision to engage in a map, and as a consequence of that, you have the opportunity to join our Matrix membership site, in which I've already provided a wealth of information in the form of audios and videos detailing not only the topics that I've shared with you today, but also providing you with the tools and the solutions for turning your symptoms into solutions. So if you're interested, I strongly suggest you inquire about having a map performed. Consider very seriously becoming a member of the Matrix Assessment Profile membership site, but also following along with this series of videos in which I detail in some detail the possibilities involving the compromises that are possible in the various realms of influence that contribute to and control the entire biological environment. So if you want more information, simply click on the link below. It'll take you to a site that will give you access to everything that I just discussed. And in the meantime, I look forward to our next visit together, and I thank you so much for watching today. I'm Dr. Richard DiCenso, and I'll talk to you soon.